Hey everyone, and in this video we'll be covering a thought that's crossed many fans' minds, and that's about Shanks' death. I never really considered making a video about this, but I was having a conversation with members of my Discord and my friend Twisty brought up something kind of crazy, so I started doing some more digging and what we found was pretty jaw-dropping. So I recommend staying until the end of the video so you can find out what that is, and it also helps me out a lot. If you would like a place to discuss topics like this, join my Discord server, the link will be in the description. I'm also on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so I'd really appreciate it if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel. With all that out of the way, let's get into the video. The most common idea of Shanks dying is to be killed by the hands of Blackbeard, and that's with good reason. Oda loves to signify major history and a potential fight based on the scars characters leave on others. Examples being Mihawk giving Zoro the big scar on his chest, and Zoro will eventually challenge him again for the title of World's Strongest Swordsman. Luffy's scar on his chest was given to him by the current Fleet Admiral Akainu in the Battle of Marineford, so they will likely fight in the final war. Shanks' scar on his eye was given to him by Blackbeard in the past, so we can assume that they will probably have a fight in the future or some sort of altercation. Shanks was also the most wary of Blackbeard, as he went out of his way to meet Whitebeard to try convince him to pull Ace back. When Shanks challenged those in Marineford that wanted to continue fighting, Blackbeard said that it was a little too early to be fighting them, which could suggest that Blackbeard plans on fighting them in the future for whatever reason. It could be for a poneglyph or something else that we don't know. There's also theories about Shanks being a celestial dragon, and if that is true, then his fight with Blackbeard holds even more weight, since Corazon told us that the D is the natural enemy of the gods, who are the celestial dragons. Oda commented in Jump Festa 2020 that Shanks will be making his move in 2021, so given the history and the scar, the time of Shanks and Blackbeard's fated battle may be near. The first subtle foreshadowing of Shanks' death comes from a colour spread in chapter 874. Shanks is wearing orange pants with a skull on it. Now this could just be a regular design that has no real meaning, but I wouldn't completely dismiss it because Oda has done something similar in the past. In the colour spread from chapter 520, Luffy is playing a card game with Robin and some of the other Straw Hats, and given his expression, it looks like he either lost the game or drew a bad card. In his left hand, he's holding a card with Brook on it. Strange, I don't recall Brook being in a 52 card deck, but there's more. In Luffy's right hand, the card at the top is the Ace of Spades, and at this point, you all know where I'm going with this. Ace was the captain of the Spade Pirates, so that card represents him. The Brook card represents death, and Luffy's expression represents loss. What's crazy is that Luffy's expression in this colour spread holds a striking resemblance to Luffy's expression when Ace actually died in the Battle of Marineford. I'm not gonna lie though, the colour spread about Ace has a bit more detail going for it than Shanks with just a skull design on his pants, but given a skull was used to represent death of a character in the past, Oda may be doing it yet again. The second subtle clue is in the very next chapter, which actually doesn't strike me as a coincidence. In the cover page of chapter 875, we see Barto in one of Shanks' territories burning down the Red Hair's Jolly Roger and replacing it with Luffy's. In One Piece, when a flag is burnt, it's viewed as a declaration or challenge against the host of that flag. An iconic example being when Luffy tells Usopp to shoot down the flag of the world government in Enios Lobby. Another example would be when the Brownbeard Pirates attacked one of the Whitebeard Pirates' territories and cut its flag down. The only difference is that they did that after Whitebeard died because the deterrent of Whitebeard was now gone. Oda could be using Barto burning the flag to foreshadow Shanks' death, as he doesn't seem to care that he attacked a Yonko territory the same way that the Brownbeard Pirates didn't seem to care that they attacked one of Whitebeard's territories because he died. The last and most jaw-dropping piece of evidence that Oda has subtly confirmed Shanks' death comes from his very own bounty. You probably figured this much because of the thumbnail of the video, but you may not know why. With some characters' bounties, there's sometimes a hidden meaning behind the numbers in Japanese when you combine them. To demonstrate this, I'll use Kaido and Big Mom's bounties so you can see what I mean. Big Mom's bounty is 4,388,000,000. The meaning of this bounty lies in the number 8. 8 in Japanese is read as ha. There are 2 8s in her bounty, so when you combine ha with ha, it makes haha, which means mother in Japanese, which makes sense for Big Mom. Kaido's bounty is 4,611,100,000. The meaning of this bounty lies in the number 1110, which is sen hyakuju. If you break down the number, they're basically saying sen, which is 1000, hyaku, which is 100, and ju, which is 10. When you combine hyaku and ju, you get hyakuju, which means beasts. This makes sense because Kaido is the king of the beasts. Now that you understand how I'm going about it with the meaning of these bounties, let's dissect Shanks' bounty. Shanks' bounty is 4,489,000, and the meaning lies in the numbers 4, 8, and 9. The number 4 is read in Japanese as shi. For number 8, it wouldn't be ha in this case because it doesn't fit with the meaning of the bounty, so it would be ya, and 9 is read as ku. When you combine the numbers, it says shiaku, which kind of sounds like Shanks, at least if you look at the romanization, or you compare it to how the Japanese actually say his name. I know it sounds different when it's from an English pronunciation. So his bounty basically reads out his own name. Now, the clue to Shanks' death is also in the numbers in his bounty that read out his name and is based on Japanese superstitions. Just like in the West, different countries and cultures have their own sets of superstitions that are signs of good or bad luck. Westerners would be familiar with the unlucky number 13, and by avoiding that number 13, it's said that bad luck is kept away from you. In Japan, people have their own sets of superstitions, and Shanks has 2 unlucky numbers in his bounty, the number 4 and 9. In the Japanese language, there are different readings of the same number, and I'm not going to pretend like I know why, so just go with it for the sake of the video. The number 4 is an unlucky number because it sounds like the word for death, which is shi. So instead of that reading, people say yon for the number 4. For example, Yonko, which means 4 emperors. The same goes for the number 9, which is ku, because it's pronounced in the same way as the words for suffering, agony, or torture. So in the part of Shanks' bounty that represents his name, there are 2 unlucky numbers that are associated with death and suffering, which makes me feel like that Shanks might not go out in a very pleasant manner. This isn't even the first time that Oda has done this before, and I'll demonstrate this with Whitebeard's bounty. The meaning of Whitebeard's bounty lies in the numbers 4 and 6. Like 4 before, we read it as she, so in this case it will be she as well, and for the number 6 it would be ro. Combine the 2 numbers and you get shiro, which means white, which represents his hair because his epithet is Whitebeard. The correlation here that both Shanks and Whitebeard have is that unlucky 4 in their bounty that is read as she, which means death. Whitebeard met his end at Marineford, so I wonder what's in store for Shanks. In chapter 1001, after Luffy showcased the ability to fight Kaido, he questioned how high will his potential reach, with the shadows of some of the strongest characters in One Piece behind Luffy. What these 5 except Shanks have in common is that they're all dead, but they've also left a big impact in the story after their passing. Shanks is also the only one out of the 5 that isn't smiling, and we typically see when legendary figures like these die, they always leave us with a smile on their face, so this might be Oda's way of telling us that we'll be saying our goodbyes to one beloved red-haired Shanks. I didn't want to end the video on a negative note, so I left this one for last, but the final number in Shanks' bounty that reads out his name is the number 8, which is actually a lucky number because it sounds like the word for prosperity in Japanese. Now, I'm not too sure what this number 8 could represent, but my guess is that it represents Luffy. As we all know, Shanks gave up his arm and bet on the new age, essentially betting on Luffy to become and surpass Goldie Roger. And we also know that when Shanks met Rayleigh, he said the same words that Roger did. Roger was looking for someone to surpass him, and I'm pretty sure by doing that gesture, losing his arm, giving up the straw hat, essentially he bet on Luffy to become what he wanted to be when he was younger, which is Pirate King, and surpass the former Pirate King, Goldie Roger. Let me know what you guys think of this theory in the comment section below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel as always. I'd really appreciate it, and until next time.